We are in the last home stretch of this evening. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for being so responsive, especially at the end there with the 4-point apology. Tough stuff. All right, so we're going to do something that business world loves to do. They're called brain teasers, and that's designed to get your brain back into the learning mode. So, all right, brain teaser. What word is this?
Is it exercise?
Got it. Okay. Next one. Finish the limerick. You hear any barking at work, and so you're not going berserk. Take your dog to work days can cause canine arrays. Once a year, it's a white collar. It rhymes with work or berserk. Begins with P.
Perk.
Perk. White collar perk. Right. Benefit. White collar extra. All right, next one. This is the last one, I promise. I won't do any more of these awful ones. Okay, solve the riddle. Man builds a house. With all four sides facing south. A bear walks past the house. What color is the bear?
White.
Yeah, you've heard this one before, or did you just figure it out? The man builds a house over the North Pole. All directions face south. If he's in the Arctic, it's a polar bear. Yeah, but I'm not very good at these, so this one I was like, what? How do you get that? All right, so you're feeling ready to learn some more?
Sure.
Ready to do some hands-on? Okay, great. All right, let's move on to the exercise. Now, we spent a lot of time before the break talking about CAR right here. All these good ones. Really deep into reflect, confirm, and retain. That's when it gets a little crazy. That's when it gets about nuances, cultural differences, subconscious bias, all of those really interesting pitfalls that can happen during communication. All right, so for this activity, I'm going to ask you guys to pair up. And okay, it looks like we've got an even number of people here. I'm excluding you. I assume you don't want to be part of it. All right, pair up, and I'm going to run through this, and then we'll questions. I'm going to run through this, and then we'll take questions and make sure you guys are good to go before I hit the timer. All right, so this is the exercise I would like you to participate with me. Think of a professional or academic barrier, problem, resistance that you are currently having. Describe it to your partner. When you have determined that both of you understand, comprehend the nature of the issue, concern, or problem, come up together with at least 2 ways to solve this issue. Does that make sense? You've got to use these to ensure that you have listened and heard and spoken properly. All right. Once you have done that, switch. Then the person who is listening describes the problem. Do it again, all over again. Got it?
Got it.
So each of you will have a chance to speak and listen. I will remind you about halfway through to switch up. At the end, we'll talk a little bit of what you discovered, some of the hurdles, some of the things that came to light. I will also be circling around if you have questions, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to be listening into your conversations a little bit, because this would be a great learning tool for me as I move forward in teaching this work. Any questions at this point? Okay, go ahead and pair up. Okay, I hope that was an exercise that you found useful. Let's start in the back of the room. I want to please tell us, and we have some pretty significant time slotted for this kind of feedback, because I think that these sort of nuances are very important. So please feel free to talk about your experience. And I remind you again, we're all in a safe space. So can we start at the back of the room?
Hi, Jose. This is Mr. Perna. He has a nonprofit organization called the Nepal American Film Society, and the professional barrier that he's experiencing now is that the working culture for producing films is much different in the U.S. than it is in Nepal. There's much more regulation here, and everything seems to be more expensive from his point of view here than in Nepal. So 2 of the things that we talked about that he could do were finding a mentor And he said that taking this class is part of his networking. He's trying to find a mentor, somebody that already does what he does, but here in Maryland. And then seeking the help of legal advice from someone that deals with the film industry specifically. So permits, labor issues, stuff like that, contracting issues. So, and so the experience that we did is we went through he told me his barrier. I read it back to him and say, am I understanding this correctly? That these are the two kind of prongs that are your barrier right now.
And did you get that immediately, or did you have to kind of go back
I
and
think
forth?
we got it pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the finances and the regulation, and then he agreed, and then we moved on, and he already had one suggestion, and then I brought the other.
Oh, wow, okay, and then it was,
Yeah.
it was done. Would you say that that is an accurate portrayal of of the conversation that you had?
Yeah.
Okay, anything additional that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah.
Okay, reverse roles.
Yeah, I'm Purna, and I'm going to talk about the wholesale and professional barrier right now. So he was in Navy Army until last September, and now he doesn't have a job. So this is his professional barrier, and he's trying to own a company, mechanical repair. So he's going to start his own business, and he's not being success on this business as well. So he need to start more training and more explorations. So these are his barrier, and so we found the solution. So first he need to look for the employment ads. And then another is, as soon as possible, he needs to get some kind of training. So this is the solution for him.
That sounds like a great conversation. As I was walking past, I thought that it sounded like one I wanted to jump into. So thank you very much. Any comments or observations about how the conversation went? How you were feeling as it was progressing? We're going to talk about our feelings.
I thought it went pretty smoothly.
Okay.
I thought it was, I thought it was pretty easy to get the information that I wanted from him. He was able to describe it pretty easily and pretty quickly, with identifying his barriers. It didn't seem like he had to think about it very long.
Okay. Sounds great. What was your, as you closed the conversation, did you feel that, on both sides, did you feel that the conversation was productive and a positive influence?
Yeah, definitely it's productive because we know each other's barrier, and also we found some solutions.
Okay, good. It's kind of a leading question, but I listened to you earlier and I saw that, I heard that it was like it's progressing well. Any comments or observations or questions from the group? Good, clear. Okay, I'm going to go.
My name is Octavius. Dave. His academic barrier was procrastination. Basically, coming from DC to come to school every day. He usually takes about 30 minutes to an hour to start coming. Like, he'll wait until 30 minutes to an hour before class and then start coming from DC to take the train or the metro, then the train or get an Uber. I asked him more into it, and I had some follow-up questions, and we chose to solve these by maybe like getting him his license. He doesn't have a license.
Oh, I see.
And he's working on getting the car, but he doesn't have a license. So, or setting an alarm. Nobody likes alarms, but setting an alarm maybe like 2 hours before he has to leave, and after setting those alarms, maybe getting off your phone for a period of time, because we all stay on our phones, maybe watch YouTube videos and Instagram videos. So that's what we picked.
So
And
if I understand this correctly, you look at the phone, you're watching a video and time just kind of,
yes,
Okay.
you watch one video, then it says you want to play the next video, and
course.
it's like related videos.
never fallen victim to that ever in my entire life.
Really?
I understand. Okay.
So yeah, and basically, I went through the same thing today for me.
Mhm.
So like we talked about that too. My legs messed up, and I basically did the same thing. I was like, my normal time I can like leave the house an hour early. So I mean, we got an hour right before class and did the class on time. And I didn't plan well, so we talked about that in like our conversation with people.
Okay.
My name
Thank
is
you.
Dave. This is Octavia. Well, his professional barrier, or you could say both actually, professional or academic, is his leg injury. We talked about what happened. So he was at the gym and he heard something pop. Then he went to a trainer and asked like what the problem was. She told him that it's nothing like anything serious, but he felt as though that he should get like an MRI, but he didn't want to do that. Like it's like okay, all right, my bad. The two ways to solve this problem is to either get an MRI for a speedy recovery, or to just wait 6 weeks for his leg to, you know.
She said it's like my meniscus. So it could be my meniscus. Well, she said it's my meniscus. It could be something else. But she was like, you don't want to take my opinion for it. Like, so it's professional.
I think he should rest for 6 weeks. I don't think.
Do we want to chime in and take a vote? No, I'm kidding. Do you feel that you have some ideas about how to move forward with the injury? And
Yeah. Talking about it it put it in perspective. Like, so basically, yeah, we talked about it, and I don't really know, because money-wise, I can't really do the MRI because I don't have insurance. We were talking about that. He was like, you should wait for 6 weeks, but I've been waiting for a week already, and like it feels kind of the same. And so I might have to do the MRI, even though I don't want to.
thank you very much for sharing both of these, hurdles. That's a bad pun. That you're dealing with. It occurs to me as I'm listening to these that I have ideas about how to solve these problems too. I would encourage you after class, and I haven't allotted for time for this, to maybe interact with each other as far as if there are additional ideas or additional support. There may be something that someone needs in this room that you might have, or at least know someone who has. That's the core of networking right there. So you're getting like an extra bonus lesson there in networking. It's connecting people with what you need. Thank you, gentlemen. Any comments from what you've heard about listening?
I should do it. I know it's like $700 to like $2,000. I can't. That's what we were talking about too. It's hard to make it back because I barely can go to work. I'm supposed to be going to work because I stand up like I'm the valet or a cashier at the Marriott. So like I have to stand behind the desk, or I have to like move cars all day, and I'm not supposed to be bending my knee. So they told me to stay off my legs, so I can't make the money that I'm supposed to be to provide the MRI.
The thing is that even just getting a checkup, when it's that like that,
Yeah.
you can at least go to the doctor, see if you need the MRI first. It's not even just going straight for the MRI, because sometimes you don't always need an MRI. But sometimes just seeking that professional help, seeing what they say. If they say you need to rest for 6 weeks, rest for 6 weeks. If they say you need an MRI, consider their advice.
Yeah, I was talking to some other people about it. They said, go to a physical therapist. Don't go to the doctor. And like, the physical therapist, they'll tell you exactly what you need to do, and you don't have to consult with a doctor. And they'll actually like provide you with different type of exercises to like get you started. But I'm not sure. I don't think it's an ACL injury.
Okay.
It
So
was
this-
the same thing with me.
This is, I'm sorry,
It was the same thing with me. Like
the same injury or the same?
No, like,
Okay.
I got like tendonitis in both my knees. So like basketball, like when you're running and jumping,
Hurts.
like it hurt me like a lot. But so like it was just but all I needed to do was go to a physical therapist, and they like had to take like ice baths
also, if I may be so bold, several people who are willing to help, giving advice and sharing their experiences with similar injuries, or the wonderful network of healthcare that we have in this country. Don't get me started. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I want to give everyone else a chance to speak. Who's next? Which lovely couple is next?
Do you want to go, Vincent?
Yeah,
You want to talk first?
okay, I'll talk first. My name is Vincent Glover. This is Giselle. So his professional barrier was that sometimes people like misunderstand or misinterpret what he says because they think he comes off as sarcastic a lot. And like I have that same issue. Like 75% of the time, I'm sarcastic. Like he said, we both are. Josh knows. But one way I suggested that he can fix the issue was just like, I mean, something
Okay,
like.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Why is this an issue? Why is coming off sarcastic to others
So
Well,
a barrier?
he said like he brought up an example of when he was talking to his boss one day on the phone, and they was talking, and he said
So,
I
pretty
guess
much,
also
I
conscious-
forgot to do something by my mistake, or I mixed something up, and then I was like, "Oh, just kidding." So I'll get it back to you as soon as possible. And she took I say "just kidding" as just something I say, just as saying, "Oh, my mistake." So she didn't understand that because it kind of sounded like I was being sarcastic or insincere. So then that's when she honestly just was like, and not everything is a joke, and went off, and then she hung up the phone on me. Very nice boss. I quit. Yeah, lovely lady. So shout out to Six Flags. So pretty much, long story short, there will be times where I'll speak to guests or different coworkers, and they'll think I'm being insincere, or I have to watch how I will say things because people might misinterpret what I'm saying.
Thank you for the clarification. Okay, so back to problem solving.
Mhm.
Are we there with the problem solving?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one way I suggested was just like I would say like just trying to change your tone and how you say it. 'Cause I feel like especially like me, like I know it's what my sarcasm sounds like. So it's like I know I can change it so that way people don't feel like I am being sarcastic. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And so the issue for me, sometimes when I'm being sarcastic, people don't know I'm being sarcastic. Or if I'm not being sarcastic, they might think I'm being sarcastic. So they just exchange my sarcasm and my normal voice at times, which is a lot of fun. But it happens.
So changing the tone
Yeah.
is what I understand is one of the possible solutions. Is
Yes.
tone awareness.
Yeah, so I started doing that at work, well, my old job, and I started doing code switching. So when I was at work, at a specific time, I would just change my demeanor and everything. If it was 9 a.m., you'll catch me just drinking something, something from Dunkin', or just walking around just trying to figure out what I have to do for the day. But right at 9, I would just be like, "Oh hey, how's it going? Everything all good?" I don't want to say fake, but the way they want me to act. And when I get home, I'll go back to normal. Yeah. And it's on repeat.
I think everyone wears a mask to some extent or another. I think that's dependent upon the capacity of the individual human being. Those kinds of symptoms. Thank you. That's a sticky one, I think.
Yep.
Okay, your turn.
So for Vincent, one either professional or academic barrier that he had was that sometimes when he needs to do something, he knows that he has the capability of doing it. If he puts his mind to it, it's just committing to it. Just taking that step and just making sure that he does it. One example that he gave is that he has an idea for a film, that he wants to write the script for, but there'll be days where he like takes the day to write it, and he might not just write it. And so it's like he knows that he can do it. He knows that he wants to do it. It's just that, and I wouldn't consider procrastination per se. It's kind of just committing and just saying that I need to focus on that.
Does this sound like you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And solutions?
For solutions, since we're both, trying to go in the same field, I give him some advice that whenever you're writing a script, it doesn't always have to be done right away. So for some things, you don't always have to focus on it like right away. Like, try to take your time sometimes, just so it doesn't end up like you're trying to rush through it. But also, he also brought up a point that he's heard some interesting things from other people that have like conflicted what I said. Like, someone told him that he just has to write down when he has a script, just work on it, and then edit it later on to what he actually means. And which is a good point that people can make, but it's kind of sometimes that you have your mindset to do something, but the way I put it is I have to be in the right mind space or something before I can actually do something. There will be some days where I can't write anything at all, or some days I can write 5 to 10 pages in one sitting.
Yeah.
It's kind of just being in the perfect place and perfect time.
I think of it about when the muse strikes. I
Yeah.
wish that the muse was an hourly worker. The inspiration to do creative work was an hourly worker. It clocked in at 8, and you could rely on that inspiration for 8 hours, and then it was done. But it just doesn't work that way, I think, in the creative side of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent, and good luck to both of you. These nuanced and multifaceted issues. Does anybody have any comments about the suffering artists? Leave me understand.
Sarcasm is really rough.
Yeah, it is.
Stop trying to be sarcastic about it.
I think that's one of your issues too. I don't be knowing when you serious.
Issues?
I don't be knowing when you serious all the time.
See, I figured it out because he kind of has like
Always
the.
serious.
No,
Like,
so I figured his out because it's kind of similar like mine. Like everything he says could be serious, or
It fooled me, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really serious
see.
all the time. Why can't I be happy
I don't
and serious
believe you,
at the
though.
same time?
Maybe we should just hold up something red or pink and be like, this is my sarcastic. When this is up, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, it's not gonna
No?
work. My shoulder would hurt.
Okay, I want to move. I'm going to move a few more couples to talk to. Yes, right here.
Oh,
Argue amongst yourselves.
They're two together.
I
oh,
know.
yeah.
Say which one's next? Argue amongst
sure.
Yeah,
yourselves.
go ahead, Josh.
You want to go first?
Yeah, so, I was talking with my friend here, Josh. Turns out we both identify as male, and we pronoun he and his.
Very important if you've never met. And haven't had a previous conversation. Yeah, thank you.
So, he had an academic problem in which pertains to this class. For the homework of the interview, that's a 5 to 10 minute interview, he didn't understand who he was supposed to interview. He got confused of either interviewing a family member or somebody that he doesn't know. So he got confused about that part, but he does know the topic of the interview and what it has to be about. So we were talking about it, and we came up with these two solutions. Either we talk to our classmates on the discussion board and ask them if they had any responses to that, or if they had similar problems with the interview. And the second solution was ask Professor Dell in person, or contact them, asking about the homework assignment.
Okay. Would you say that that is an accurate recounting of your conversation?
Pretty accurate.
Pretty good? Okay.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No. I mean, I figured it out though. I figured it's not supposed to be a family member.
Did that happen during the conversation, or?
Did it happen during the conversation? No, it was early.
Okay.
I had to let him know that was the problem.
I see.
But I fixed the problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is Julio. He also goes by July, or also goes by Julio. I don't know. His pronouns is his and him.
Sorry, what?
And he also said, I don't know. That's what he said. Pronouns. He had hiser on there, so like a
yeah.
mix of both of them. So yeah, he said it was a professional barrier. He feels like he's not very knowledgeable enough of the field of mass comm to actually like work in a media job. So I just suggested that he gets involved with more media events at the college that he's at, because they do a lot of sports events and other events and interviews in general. And then I was saying do more home research, because you can find a lot of stuff online, and just like take a day and just like read it up. Whatever you want to know.
I'm taking my own notes on those. They sound great.
Yeah, that's
Yeah?
what we talked about.
Okay. And do you feel that you have some meat, some ideas on how to move forward?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you'll do them? This is a hard question.
Actually, actually, I think it was yesterday night or this morning that I was looking up stuff like online, because I wanted to do this type of video editing where like I have multiple me's in the video, and I didn't know how to do that, so I looked it up. Cause for like the longest, I wanted to learn how to do that, but I never did it because I was just lazy and I procrastinated on it. And I just like, you know what, let me just do it, and I just did it. And I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, now I know how to do it.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So this is like building more support to like that idea of researching what you want to know.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Any comments on that exchange?
You could try and get an internship, so like that's usually what they're for, right? When you're not 100% ready to start working a real job in the field, but you want to, so you go be an intern and learn how to do that.
I think there may be some, this is a wonderful opportunity right here. They're interns. I noticed that there was, it looked like you wanted to say something. Do you want to?
No.
No? Okay, all right. You're more than welcome to provide feedback. I know that internships can be complicated.
Yes.
Yeah. Reminds me of a story, but this is about you guys. I'll tell you later. Okay. Please.
So this is Aria. So she has a professional barrier, and that is sexism in her workplace. So she gave me an example. It didn't really seem so bad. It was kind of funny. But then she gave me another example, and it sounded like something she should really go to HR about. So she's like a stagehand, and she helps set up equipment for like events and stuff like that. And this is something she wants to do, but at the same time, if she tells HR, that could kind of mess up her career, because like everybody knows everybody in the situation pretty much. And so it's a pretty like blue collar type of atmosphere. So a lot of the guys there, they'll act a certain way and they'll talk a certain way, as opposed to maybe an office setting or a teaching job. So we didn't really finish talking, but I was going to tell her, I feel like this is something that won't change, like this work environment. Like, because if you're working, it's just like if you're working with mechanics or technicians, all these guys are going to say what they want to say and act a certain way. So I feel like she should either maybe like ignore everything, let it go through 1 year, come up the next, or maybe just go different routes. But it's kind of difficult because this is something she wants to do.
Yeah, he's kind of, he got it mostly right. So a lot of times it's very casual or subtle, and then I'll have like one day where just one person is just completely awful. There are other women in the field, but it's very male dominated, the women tend to look out for each other, but it's not guaranteed that I'm gonna work with another lady there. And also the other people there are mostly older, like 30s or 40s, some like later 20s, and there's only a handful of like new people in the DC area that do that. And it's very like who you know, and everybody in the room, for me, I'm freelance, tends to work for a different company. So then if something happens and I do feel like I want to report it, it's a matter of like figuring out how do I do that, because they're with a completely different company, or maybe I've never met them before, I didn't get their name. It's very
See, okay. First of all, I want to commend you for your approach to what is honestly a gender issue. And not being, I'm assuming here, not being of that gender, it can be very difficult to capture that kind of behavior. And I thought you did a fantastic job of articulating that, even though it may have been something that is not as visible as a man. I want to talk to you after class, if you don't mind. I have some ideas for you, if you are willing for that. But thank you for saying something, and thank you for bringing it up in an academic environment where we can look at it analytically, because there's a lot of things going on. So thank you. I'm gonna go kind of close down that conversation because there's a lot going on with that one. So okay, we'll talk later. Okay.
One question.
Yeah.
Are you in the union?
Huh?
Are you in the union?
No, I just started like a
Oh.
year ago.
Is it
Oh, so you'll be unionized soon.
Yeah.
is it an equity house though? Okay. Or
I think so.
that.
So there's lots of protection in the union.
Yeah, there may
Yeah.
if yeah.
So no matter who you work for, because you're a member of the union, and the union represents all of those companies, there's protection there, but in this, you keep thinking things will get better, and just don't.
This is one of my
We'll
areas
talk
of study.
later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. I don't want to pull too far away. This is a big part of what I've studied. My last paper was on the first year of the hashtag #MeToo movement. And one of the things I work with a lot is exactly what you're talking about. So I want to talk to you later. And I will put that away for a moment so we can wrap up. Okay, thank you. Your turn for.
Oh yeah. Kevin had a academic issue where he has a hard time kind of getting himself to start working on projects as opposed to being
Procrastination is a big deal in this.
So as to clarify, because I got confused for a minute and he clarified to me, it is not an issue of starting and then getting distracted. It's an issue of just starting, because he doesn't get distracted once he's started. So I suggested some of my studying tips that I work on when I'm having a hard time, which is I have the opposite problem, because I'll start and then like get derailed. So
I prefer to think of it as short, inspired bursts. Yeah.
So I suggested that he kind of isolate himself. That's what I do. So I'll go to a place where I cannot be at home and study, because I'll turn on the TV or I'll check my phone. So if you get like apps, you lock your phone for like an hour or so. So he can't. I make sure there's like nothing else I can possibly do. But that, and he said that might be effective for him as well.
A parental control for your. Okay. All right.
Oh, she also told me like go to a cafe and stuff, like Panera Bread.
I think that's the reason cafes are still in business. Okay, great. Thank you. Let me just get a quick time check here.
8:26.
We're about 8:26 or so. That is really the meat of what we have learned this evening. I think we've advanced 2 slides at this point. Okay, oops, sorry. regard to this, I want to just touch on a couple of things that I've heard that may or may not be obvious to you. The first thing was I felt like the communication, you guys really grasped some of the nuances of the communication styles that we've worked through tonight, and it was excellent. I'm really happy to hear solutions, practical solutions. And something that I also saw was the acceptance of those solutions, was the nodding and the, yeah, I could do that. There's a vein of procrastination going on. And I have my own thoughts about that it's not really procrastination, but I love to hear these really practical ideas like locking your phone down or being more, breaking the project down into digestible chunks or those kinds of things. Again, we are in safe space here, so please assume that nothing that was said tonight is repeatable outside of these doors, unless invited. So you can always approach someone and say, hey, I have an idea for what you said. And then this is listening, and if the person says, I'm open for that, or yeah, I want to hear it, then continue forward. But if that person says, I want to leave it there, that's a time to step back. So that's another layer of listening and communication. All right, where are we going? Okay, now I wanted to revisit these because these are the nuances and the more sort of 200-300 level listening, active listening bits. So asking questions to promote discovery and insight. Just anybody shout it out. Give me an example of how you use that during the exercise. Asking questions to promote insight.
If it's something that you don't understand or you need more clarification on, you can ask for an example or just something to help you just grasp what they're talking about.
That's great. I also think that there's a great opportunity for this kind of asking of questions, and when you rephrase what the person has said, to follow up with an insightful question. Conversations, positive experiences. Anybody have anything to report? Positive. Yes.
Well, I guess I felt similar to Josh about the interview. Homework, not that I didn't understand, but it was going to be like a little hard.
So you're saying to Dell that it's a hard assignment, is that correct? Okay. I will tell you on the second bullet there, I did see one of the things I would love to see when communication is happening and I'm not part of it, is this and laughter. And also, I think everyone in this room, not that I was stalking you, but everyone in this room had a good, relaxed posture. It, to me, looked like a meeting of peers. And that was, to me, refreshing to see, and also made very inspiring to watch people engage in good conversation. I don't know if you've ever watched two people talk, who are really, really talking and communicating. It's really kind of beautiful. And that does make me sound like a creeper, so I'm going to move on. Cooperative conversation. Please feedback flows smoothly in both directions. Did you feel that tonight? Did you witness that?
Yeah.
Did you engage in it? Okay, great. Neither party becomes defensive.
No.
I didn't see anybody storm out. Really realizing as well that if there was a defensive mechanism going on in your body, you may not know that until later and be like, no, it really bothered me. And if it does happen, then you have your reflexive process and subconscious bias work to deal with at that point. And I'm only half kidding when I say that. Okay, you can go to the next slide. All right, so here we are. We made it. Almost done. So what I want to do, one last thing. You guys have done a lot of communicating and a lot of activity, and very, very engaged. I want to go around the room. Give me, please, last time I swear, one key insight that you learned from tonight. It'll help you retain what you learned, I promise. Just start, someone just yell it out.
I'll go first.
please.
Okay, so one thing that I kind of like learned or just like piggybacked on, it was kind of like the 4 points of apology. It's because whenever I did it at work or before, I never really thought about it. It was more, I kind of wanted the guests to get out of my face. So I said what made them happy in the nicest way possible. So I would do all those steps unconsciously. And now that I'm seeing it like in a PowerPoint presentation and everything, it's kind of like giving me insight. I'm like, wow, that was either really smart or like really dumb what I did. Because people thought I was sincere at times, but it was a long day. So I said what they wanted to hear, which is what I was trained to do in my job. But yeah.
I've learned, I think that when we're talking about customer service positions, kind of breaks some of the rules of active listening and apologies. It's a different form of behavior, and I'm going to think about that when I go to revise this deck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Something I took away was your quote. It said, "Take the word why out of your interview." I tried to do that when I was interviewing Dave, and it actually led me into like asking more about and having like different follow-up questions without the word why in it. It actually had a deeper impact on our interview.
Great. I start taking notes on this stuff. Okay. Thank you. Key takeaway. Yes, please.
The part I got one about was like clarifying the feelings of a person in the ways that they said. So like with the example where you like the student felt like they felt a certain way, and then the teacher had to respond by saying kind of what they said, but in a different way, but clarifying that that's how they feel. And so then that's once you clarifying both parties understand each other of the problem, then it goes to the next step. So like, I guess that part stuck out to me because sometimes I guess I feel like when I talk to somebody, I guess we're not on the same page sometimes, but we still skip over understanding each other and then go to the next step.
Okay. So you're talking about the intuitive behavior of the listener who's saying, you feel this way, is...
Because I guess I get impatient sometimes.
Okay.
So then sometimes I don't understand what they're trying to tell me, but I'll pretend I do in order to move on.
Is it something that works for you?
I feel like
Any
yeah.
insight? Okay.
Yeah.
One of the nuances was like not to speak when like someone else is speaking, right? Is that one of them? And then so I was thinking about that because like I usually like start talking and like they're still talking and I'm like, okay, wait, let me just like make sure I understand you before you finish. And I don't want to cut them off, but it's like I just kind of need to know before you finish because I'm gonna forget it.
I think you bring up a really good point. There is a difference between interrupting someone and asking for clarification during the conversation. Interrupting someone is usually when you've already formulated the thing you want to say, but haven't waited to hear the rest of what the other person's saying.
Yeah, so what do you do about that? Like, if they're telling a story and you want them like stop right here and like pitch in and like figure out what they're actually telling you and continue the story. How do you
listen?
So that's a whole nother slide. I think that, and I could be wrong about this, but this is my idea, and please feel free to chime in on this. I think that determine whether you're formulating a response to what they're saying or you need more clarification. If you're pre-formulating a response while they're still talking, I would say trying to put that in the back and really concentrate on what they're saying before you say something, that response.
Yeah.
When they're finished. And then if you're asking for clarification,
Usually it's okay just to jump in, unless somebody says, hold the questions until the end. Okay.
Yeah, I'm formulating like a response. So I already trying to say like something before they finish the sentence.
I do the same thing because I get very excited, and I think people are gonna. I do this to my husband all the time. I know what he's gonna say, right? And I'm halfway through this conversation before, he's even finished the sentence. Wait till they finish speaking. This is me talking to myself. Wait till they finish speaking. Take one breath, then respond. In an interview setting, that might come off a little strange. I'm not saying that is appropriate everywhere, but that is a chance for me to go, am I just responding to what I think I heard? Am I responding to what they actually said? Yeah? Okay, yes.
Sometimes it might seem like they keep talking for a long time, because there's people that like to ramble or just continue talking, and sometimes you just have to let them talk. Sometimes people just want to be heard. I ended up one time in a 2-hour-long phone call with only saying like 3 sentences just because he was complaining about something for that long. And it's not like I wanted to interrupt him and be like, hey, I'm not going to lie to you. You have the wrong store or you have the wrong part. But I went ahead and listened because he was already done with people not listening to him already. And just by me taking the time to listen to him, it kind of took like a whole bunch of weight off his shoulders. And so sometimes just taking a step back to realize if they're talking for a while, just go ahead and let them talk. You can nod, you can say, yep, I understand. And you you already have what you want to say, just wait till they're done and then go ahead and let it through once they're finished.
Yeah, you're bringing up some nuances. When is it okay to kind of stand back and let the person speak?
Yeah.
Without formulating the response and having that interaction. Yes?
I know that sometimes when I'm talking to someone or when someone's saying something to me, they're like expecting a reaction. They'll probably walk away if I don't react. Like, what are you doing in that situation? Like, if they're telling you about something, like it's like their energy is like expecting like a reaction, like you should react to everything that they're saying.
What do you guys think? Because I have some thoughts, but I want to hear what you think.
That's why I bring in sarcasm, honestly. That's, like, for a situation like that, someone's like, oh, don't you feel bad for me? I'm like, oh, no. And, sometimes you might not care for it, but, like, sometimes, like, a little humor might help just bring you back to that conversation. And I'm not saying you have to be sarcastic with the person. I'm just saying, like, try to find a way that brings you back into the conversation instead of being like, I don't really care about this.
I also feel like it depends on who you're talking to.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a work setting, and we're talking about wearing masks and behaving differently in different environments. I would have a completely different rapport with someone I've known since childhood than, say, someone I work with and have only known for a year in a workplace environment. It's called a social contract. The social contract that I have with my childhood friend is a completely different, more nuanced, more subtle thing. I can, swear at them and call them horrible names, and it's really an affectionate thing. Obviously, if I swore at a coworker and called them horrible names on a daily basis, it'd be completely different ramifications. So yes, it is nuanced. We're talking about, the understanding of the social contract. So this is mostly for a professional work environment, interview environment, but there will always be exceptions to that. So yet another layer of complexity to communication. Anybody else? Getting towards the end here. Okay, let me just do a quick time check. I think we're almost done, except for
8:40.
the tops. Oh, it is time to get, okay. One more slide. All right, now comes and I have post-its here. Now comes the part where you help me out. I am gonna pass around some post-its because I have a ton of post-its at home. And I would like you, yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
I would like you on the pinkish, reddish post-it. I think I put it up there, Brianna. Okay, where do you post it? To right. This is a classic evaluation technique for facilitation in a business environment. It's called tips and tops. Remember this one, it's great. So on this pinkish post-it, please write one tip for improvement. One thing you'd like to see improved based on your experience this evening. That is humanly possible, like, you know, more snacks, probably not gonna happen.
Next class.
Sorry?
Next class.
Next class.
I don't know if you're being serious.
No, he's being
For
serious.
You're being serious? Because last time he said he was gonna bring a box of donuts, but he never did.
Not true. Not true.
If I'm invited back, I'll bring it.
Not true.
You said you
I
bring-
brought Krispy Kreme.
Not for our midterm.
For the final?
You said for the midterm you'd also bring it.
I'm advancing the green post-it here. Just hold on. And
Put our name on it?
you do not need to put your name on it. This is,
Don't need it to-
you don't have a tip? Think of one anyway. Seriously,
Sorry.
please. You're helping me out because I'm going to take these home and I'm going to look at them and improve them.
I think you did a good job.
If that's the tip, you did a good job. Okay. Well, I'll post my contact information if you think of anything. I'm completely open to criticism. I love it.
Are they separate index cards?
Yeah, the green one here is going to be a top. What did you love? What worked well for you? All right. All right. That's it. You guys are done. Thank you so very much for being incredible this evening. I think I learned more than you did, and that's always a good sign. Furthermore, my name is Nicole from Kern, and this is how you can find me. I encourage you to reach out to me. Let me know how it's going. I will be here, and I will always respond. Learning, as I said, goes on until you're dead. So I'd be happy to help out in any way I possibly can, but also hear about your success. It has been my pleasure to be your guest lecturer this evening. Have a wonderful night and safe journey home.